I am Kristen Bomas, and welcome to Struck by Enlightenment, where we are on a conscious journey to life mastery. And today we're going to talk about living in a state of manifestation. In my own life, I live in a state of mastery, and so I am constantly looking to open myself to greater freedom. Consequently, I find myself living also in a state of manifestation. The more I master, the more clearly I can see how I'm manifesting both what I wish to manifest and what needs to be healed because I don't wish to manifest. So today I thought I'd talk a little bit about that, how that looks and what that means for everybody. A few people have asked me to talk about that. So any questions you may have at the end of this blog or podcast, please don't hesitate to ask. In this life, we all have challenges. That's by design. And those challenges are anchored in the fear, the discomforts of life. And we have free will that says we will either master those or suffer with them. And suffering, when we talk about it in life, is living the challenges, right? Living through those fears and discomforts rather than mastering and moving into a more enlightened, loving space. So those challenges obviously limit your love and your freedom in this lifetime. Consequently, they limit your ability to see beyond the physicality. And that happens because fear anchors us down. It makes us feel kind of small. It makes us want to be very sure-footed, right? So we tend to get more and more and more and more physical in our thinking and what we see when we are living with more fear. As we start to master this life, we open our hearts and our minds to moving beyond the fear, moving beyond challenges, those patterns that are not serving our freedom. And we start to open the doors to greater freedom. And the more we live in that space, the more we transcend the challenges and the more we're ready to transcend those challenges. Our intuition, our intention to manifest what we wish to manifest lies in those doors to love and freedom being open. Because if those are closed, just imagine the physical example, right? If I want to manifest, but those doors are closed from fear and doubt, then it just can't get out to come back and manifest what I wish it to manifest. Instead, the fear is manifesting what is happening in my life. So the challenges in this life are by design, and we want to know what they are. So in mastering this life, or self-mastery, we're moving beyond those challenges. We're healing them. We're releasing them, not letting them go. People think we push them down. We don't. We address them. We heal them. The more they're healed, the more doors that open to our freedom, and the more doors that open to our freedom, the more we can manifest. So the truth of who we are rests on the freedom and the love side of the equation. We are, at our soulful level, pure love. And we are our soul. And we are also the physical body that houses the soul. And the physical body is that physical limitation that allows us to physically move about this physical realm. And the soul is the energy that transcends the physical, that goes beyond. And we are both. So when we look at mastering our lives, we start to move beyond those challenges, those limitations, and we start to see so much more than just what is right before us. Consequently, we start to see patterns more. We live through the synchronicity of life. We notice the reaction to our presence and our reaction to the presence of life. And in all of that, we start to ask questions as to why certain things aren't flowing in the way we wish it to flow. If we were living in a pure state of love, everything would also be in a pure state of abundance. We would be in a pure state of freedom, and we're not. So where there are limitations or discomforts or fear-based emotions, when we're in a state of mastery, we want to know what those are. We want to know why they're in our life, because we have manifested those. And we know we have manifested those at some level. We want to know where we are manifesting our fears and where we are manifesting our dreams. And when we are working in a state of mastery and we're living in a state of manifestation, we're in a constant state of awareness, or a somewhat constant state of awareness, that we are the manifestors, we are the creators of this life, and that our future has yet to be created. So which way do we wish it to go? The soul has free will. Somebody asked me this question a few days ago, and that soul's free will sets the stage for the overall experience of this lifetime. But you have free will in this physical life. And that's why we always say you can always rewrite the story, because you can look at where you are and move beyond. Everything is at your fingertips if you choose to go there. So the truth connects us to our intuition. The truth of who you are is very soulfully defined, and consequently it anchors us to our intuition and to the connection of the energy realm. And that energy realm is where the manifestation just zing zing happens, like boom boom, right? So we don't see that because we live in time and space, which is interesting because both are quite the illusion, but necessary for this lifetime. So we see our manifestation as seemingly taking some time. But some does and some doesn't. The more we are in alignment with what we're manifesting, the quicker it becomes our reality. So when we are in a state of fear, if we, and we don't want to see change, we like things to remain the same, we are going to constantly, unbeknown to ourselves, we are going to constantly recreate the same scene over and over and over so that we don't have drastic change. And that is part of what we manifest. So when we want to start to live beyond the limitations, we have to also be ready to have no anchoring in consistency, to literally live in a state of impermanence where everything is shifting, much like a one-year-old does. A one-year-old has no awareness that anything outside their own view exists, so their whole world is just what they can see. And that's why when they get a little bit older, peekaboo's so exciting, because it's people magically are here and then they magically disappear, right? Everything is very impermanent. And when we really start to master and live beyond, we almost live in that state where we are aware that things can change abruptly and suddenly. But for most, that's a very uncomfortable place to be. And in that discomfort, we manifest that sense of consistency or permanence to the scene within which we live. I said I live in a state of mastery, and I do. But I said I live in a state of manifestation, and I do, but I'm still learning to move how I manifest a limited world into manifesting an endless and free world. And that's part of mastery, but it's also part of the awareness of manifestation. How I want to live my life is by looking at the challenges, those times that aren't quite as I wish them to be, and ask why they're there, right? From where they come, what they're about, what I need to gain in terms of understanding life to move beyond manifesting that over and over and over again. So the questions change as you start to live in a life of mastery, and then you start to realize how much you're manifesting. The questions become twofold. When we ask why something is in our life, we want to know where it came from. Where did we learn this? Why is it still here? And then we also want to know what is happening inside that we keep manifesting it. So oftentimes I'll ask my clients as well as myself, okay, how does it serve you? And the first answer is usually, oh, it doesn't. Oh, but it does. Because there's a reason why we keep manifesting it over and over. There's a reason why we're not manifesting something different. And so we want to know maybe what is the wish when we manifest the same thing over and over and over again. And so we want to see what we're really looking for in this lifetime, because that's what we want to manifest, not the fears that keep us hoping for it or wishing for it, right? As you ask these kind of questions and you open your heart to whatever the answers may be, you start to see how certain patterns exist because we've bought into an old belief that we continue to manifest in our lives over and over and over and over again. For those of you who have been following and learning about manifestation with me, you know that I constantly talk about intention. And these questions that you would pose are part of knowing your intention and where it's skewed. Because once your intentions are aligned with your thoughts, the power of your manifestations are extreme. So when we are living in a state of fear and that aligns with our thoughts, say I'm afraid of change and I really believe that every day is going to be the same, I just do some things different in that day. Well, that alignment in that belief and in that truth and in that fear of it being completely different every day keeps the day seemingly the same every day, day in and day out. And that might be a big example, but it's a clear example. And so you want to understand that we are at some level constantly manifesting, and the more we become aware of where our challenges are, the more we can open up those doors. In those experiences, we ask, what is our experience? What is the experience we wish to have? And that's where we start to really open up those doors. That's where mastery and manifestation again are one and the same. Or they're not one and the same, but they're connected very intimately. So, given everything I've said, we've talked about the challenges in your life and how they limit you and how they keep you anchored to the physical world. We've talked about the truth of you being anchored in the soul and in the love and the freedom of life and how that is keeping you very connected to the energy realm. We then said when you manifest and live in a state of manifestation that you can come from the fear side and the challenges that are still active inside, or you can come from the love side and manifest the dreams. And actually in life every day you're doing a little of both. And then we talked about intentions being in alignment with all of that. As we talked about all of that, we were pairing mastery of life with manifestation so that you're living in a state of mastery and manifestation when you do this. So let me just conclude by talking a little bit about what that looks like. My days are spent aware of my breath, the vibration of my voice, and the experience beyond those two things that are occurring within me. If my breath becomes shallow or tight, I want to know why it shifted. When I can feel my voice coming from a more shallow place rather than from the core of my being where I feel it vibrating, I want to know what just limited me. So those two things become a gauge, and that's a pretty constant in my life. Then there's the experience I'm having versus the experience I wish to have. When they're in alignment, things are sweet. When they're not in alignment, I'm looking to shift over to the experience I wish to have in one way or another. Sometimes you're in an experience in this life that you may not really fully want to be in, but you have to for some reason. And that's okay too. Because we're all still evolving and we want to get to a place where we don't feel the have-tos. But to be a part of society, sometimes we do. And that's a choice we make, is to master but remain a part of society and its limiting structure. But each day is a new opportunity. And I do see how some things remain the same. And I ask myself why I keep them the same. And that's not a question I take lightly. I do meditate and I feel myself shifting and I see myself focus on manifesting a particular aspect of my life. And if I see any hesitation in that mastery, in that manifestation, then I'm asking, okay, where's the interference? Once I start to look at that interference, I'm looking at any doubts, any fears, any old beliefs that may be hidden in the recesses. So I'm looking. So the manifestation and the mastery of life go hand in hand. Of course, in mastery, if I feel any sort of a fear-based emotion, no matter what that may be, I'm asking from where that came, because that, again, is creating a limitation, and I'm keeping alive those things that aren't giving me pure freedom. Do I think I'm going to master all of this and become so pure that I can think it and so it is? In this lifetime? I guess it's possible. I don't I'm not going to say it's not, but you can see there's a disbelief here, right? I think that we're on this plane to gain that understanding that it's a process. So the ego would want me to say, I'm going to get there, I'm going to get there. I'm not going to stop working to get there, because every single day of my life, a new piece opens, a new piece opens. And no matter how far I get towards that goal, every day is a new manifestation with something new coming back into play, something new to be learned, something new to be unveiled, something new to be healed. So living a state of manifestation for me is inclusive of my meditations, my old beliefs, my current beliefs, my dreams, my relationship with myself, the way I love, the way I fear. It's all of it, because all of it is entwined in who I am and how I breathe and live this life. So until next time, may each of you become aware of what you're manifesting and start to ask yourself how you really make the shift to manifest your dreams. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for joining me, and please visit KristenBomas.com, where you can easily access all of my social circles.